Welcome everyone to the District Assessment Coordinators, DACs, and Career and Technical Education Directors, CTE, and the Maine Accountability and Reporting System Portal webinar. I'm Nancy Godfrey, the Maine DOE Assessment Coordinator. The first part of this training is primarily targeting DACs and their roles and responsibilities. CTE directors will also have assessment reporting access to MAARS, and the second part of this webinar will cover an overview of the MAARS confidential portal, which applies to both roles. MAARS is the Maine and accountability reporting system. It includes all Maine assessment data for all tested content areas: science, mathematics, ELA literacy, and results for the English language proficiency test, WIDA, access for Ells. MAARS provides confidential information. Confidential login credentials are required. Each district assessment coordinator, or DAC, that controls access to the confidential side. Specific confidential student information is available for specific school staff and is given access to the system accordingly. The DAC is able to view all reports within the district in MAARS. Public assessment data is newly housed in the DOE dashboard instead of the MAARS public portal. DACs are identified in NEO and assigned by the superintendent. If in NEO a DAC is not assigned, it defaults to the superintendent. Login credentials are not needed for the NEO super search, indicated by the star SAU primary contacts. You can either see the DAC per district by SAU or see all the DACs in the state by primary contact. When searching primary contacts by organization or district, choose the district from the drop-down and click Search. The DAC, or Assessment Coordinator, is the third row from the top. When searching by primary contact, you can choose the role of Assessment Coordinator from the primary contact type circled and click Search. This will give you a list of all DACs statewide, which you can export into Excel as indicated by the star. If the DAC in your district is not you or needs to be changed, please speak to your superintendent, as NEO login credentials are needed for staff changes through the staff module certification report. First and foremost, the DAC is the go-to person regarding communication with the DOE for assessments. Assessment announcements and emails are sent directly to DACs based on the exported Excel in NEO. In addition, assessment announcements are also sent to any MEA-specific listserv subscribers. Please join all assessment listservs if you are not receiving this information. DAC should know who to contact regarding specific assessments at specific schools within the district. Here's an overview of the roles and responsibilities of the DAC. 1, you must have knowledge of all MEA assessments. 2, have knowledge of the calendar of assessments. 3, have knowledge of school test coordinators and how to assign MAARS access. 4, ensure that school level coordinators have login access to MAARS and that they know how to assign teacher roster level users. 5, have knowledge of how to ensure appropriate identification of special populations such as English learners and alternate test takers. We will touch upon each one individually. 6, have knowledge of where and how to obtain all assessment-related manuals, guides, forms, training and webinars. 7, ensure that school test coordinators are trained and that all assessment-related forms are signed, completed, such as the test security agreements or the MEA Science Online PCPA. 8, have knowledge of school testing schedules and ensure that all assessments are administered. 9, ensure submission of all assessments and verify return of any shipped or mailed materials. Number 1, knowledge of all assessments. The state-required assessments are called the MEA or Maine Educational Assessments. Students either participate in the general assessments or the alternate assessments in all assessed content areas. Students cannot take a general assessment in one content area and an alternate in other. The general assessments consist of math and English language arts literacy for students in grades 3 through 8. This is the Empower Me. For students in the 3rd year of high school, this is the SAT. Science for students in grades 5, 8, and 3rd year of high school, this is the general MEA Science. English learners are assessed with the WIDA Access for Ells. Remember that based on the date an EL student came to the United States and enrolled in a school for the first time, some students are exempt from the ELA portion of the MEA only and for 1 year only. In order to be eligible for alternate assessments, students must have IEPs, meet alternate participation criteria, and must be flagged as alternate test takers in their enrollment. Math and English language arts literacy in grades 3 through 8 and 3rd year of high school is the Multi-State Alternate Assessment, or MSAA. Science in grades 5, 8, and 3rd year of high school, this is the Personalized Alternate Assessment Portfolio, or PAPE. English language learners with IEPs and alternate indicators must take the WIDA alternate access. We will cover in another slide how you find your population of alternate test takers. Number 2, knowledge of the calendar of assessments. The DOE Maine Comprehensive Assessment System, MeCAS, homepage includes a link to the full calendar of the school year's testing dates. This screenshot shows just a portion of the 1920 MEA calendar. This calendar includes not only the required MEAs, but also national and international assessments for educational progress, or NAEP. Please note that NAEP is administered every other year. The DAC should know who to contact at each school in the district regarding assessments. The titles vary per MEA, but all are indicated on the chart with a star. 4, ensure that school test coordinators have login access to MAARS and that they know how to assign teacher roster level access. Subsequent slides will describe how the DAC adds, edits, and/or updates school level account access to MAARS, as in school users. School test coordinators then add teachers for roster level access in MAARS. The MAARS User Management Guide can be found at the following link in the MAARS Confidential tab. Number 5, have knowledge of how to ensure appropriate identification of special populations, such as English language learners and alternate test takers. With the URL in the slide, log into NEO with your confidential username and password. Click Student Data tab, then click Student Reports tab. From this page, you can either filter by reporting area in the drop-down menu or click View Report in the report name of either Access for Ells or Alternate Assessment Reports. From your responsible attending district, you can filter on attending school for individual schools or all schools in the district. If you have a large district or large roster of special populations, please remember that this list may be more than one page. You can export this list to format in any manner that you choose. Number 6, have knowledge of where or how to obtain all assessment-related manuals, guides, forms, training, and webinars. From the DOE MeCAS homepage URL on the slide, select Test Administration, Materials, and Training. In Test Administration Materials and Training, on the left panel, you can pick the particular assessment you are searching for. For 7, 8, and 9, these tasks, the DAC relies heavily on each of the school test coordinators. These are listed as DAC responsibilities, as the DOE will in turn rely on your oversight of these tasks, including assurance that your school level coordinators follow through with their responsibilities. I will now turn the presentation over to Greg Newcomb of Focal Point, who will describe details in the MAARS portal.
Thank you, Nancy, and welcome. My name is Greg Newcomb, and I will be covering an overview of MAARS, particularly focused on the user management component for DACs to be able to add and manage users' access to the MAARS platform. So the first component is the MAARS confidential reporting, which then we'll talk about user management following. To access MAARS confidential reporting, the URL is listed here. I know it's also available on the Maine DOE site at the https://lms.backpack.education. The accounts are provisioned by Focal Point and through the DACs adding users, and that creates Focal Point logins. So to access the MAARS platform, the users would click the Focal Point icon to log into MAARS. Once the user is logged into MAARS, there is a landing page available to those users. The menu on the left-hand side will be available for DACs and other users who have district admin role. We configure the DACs automatically for each district based on the information provided in NEO, and then the DACs can manage users using the User Management tab to add those users. The confidential reporting platform provides access to 3 types of reports. There are district and school quick reports, the student quick report for an individual student, and then the interactive reports, which provide charts that are drillable to student rosters and the ability to look at data by various demographic subgroups. Just a snapshot of these reports at a high level. The district and school quick reports on the top left provides overall participation and performance information for each of the tested subjects: ELA, mathematics, science, and English language proficiency. The student report in the center provides access to an individual student's assessment results for those state assessments, and also access through a link on the page to that student's individual student report, the ISRs, which are available for distribution to guardians. And finally, the charts on the right represent a snapshot of the interactive reports, which provide the ability to look at the data by subgroup and also the ability to drill into the bar charts to view rosters and from there access subscores. In terms of MAARS user management, MAARS provides 4 roles within the application. The MAARS administrator role is referred to as the district admin role. The DAC is configured as district admin by default, and the DAC should receive a login email and a second email with the password for MAARS to access the site. The DAC can also choose to configure another user to also have district admin privileges. For example, if there's someone in the IT department that the DAC would like to provide district admin rights to so that they can also assist with adding, deleting, managing users within the MAARS application. The district user role provides district-wide access to all data for the district. Also provides school-wide access to the data within each of the schools and individual student level data access for all students with assessment reports reported within that district. This information is based upon what is known as the reporting district for that student's results. The school user role access to school level administrators to view all of the data about that school and the individual student data for the students who were tested within that school for that specific testing year. And finally, the roster user role provides access to individual student data for those students assigned to a specific roster that have been uploaded through the roster management tab in the MAARS application by the DAC or another user configured with district admin privileges. So when a DAC or district admin user logs in, they will have a menu on the left-hand side with the performance reports, which brings them to the confidential reporting landing page. And they will have access to a user management tab. So you can click on the user management tab on the left-hand side of the MAARS page, and that will bring up your current list of users. Here you can reset passwords if the users have forgotten their password. You can click the reset password button on the right, or if the user is no longer with the district, you can remove the user. To add new users, there is a user upload template. The link for that upload template is at the top right of the user management page. You click on the MAARS user upload template link, and a window will open within the browser and will download that template, which is an Excel format template. So you open that downloaded Excel template, and there are a number of columns that need to be provided. There are 6 column headers in the template. This is the format that must be followed when adding users and uploading users to MAARS. The first column represents their email address, and this needs to be a valid email address for the user, as this is how the user will receive their user ID and also their password. The next column is the first name for the user, followed by the last name for the user. This information needs to be unique because the user ID is created from a combination of the first name and last name. Then the role needs to be specified, and as we discussed, there are 4 roles: district admin, district user, school user, or roster user. The Excel template does have a drop-down list box for the role field so that you can click that and select district user, school user, or roster user. We did not by default add district admin to that drop-down in there, but you can type it in if you want to add another user and provide them district admin privileges. The reason it is not provided by default is we want to make sure that the DAC is aware that they will be providing access to another user that will give that user the ability to add any user to the platform. The next column, school code, is necessary for any user that is defined with a school user role. This is so that when the user logs in, it will associate them with the appropriate school information in terms of all of the assessment results for that particular school. And the final column in the template is the local staff ID, and this is a unique identifier only used for users with the role of roster user. This will be used to map this particular user to one or more rosters of students that will be uploaded on the roster management page, which we will discuss following this. Once you have completed the spreadsheet with the information, then you just simply save that spreadsheet onto your computer, and then on the user management page, click the Upload Users link, and that will open a File Open dialog. You map to your particular upload template that you've completed, and then simply click Open, and it will upload those users and add them to the platform. Once those users are added, then shortly thereafter, those users should receive 2 emails, one with their user ID and a second email with their initial password for MAARS. If you are configuring roster users in the platform, there are 2 steps that you need to do. First, you add the user on the user management page with the role of roster user, and you provide a local staff ID that will be a unique ID for that roster user. And then you move to the roster management page. And within the roster management page, similar to the user management page, there is also a student roster template that's available. So if you click the MAARS Student Upload Template, again, it will download an Excel template for rosters. You open that template in Excel, and there are 5 columns to be filled out for the rosters. So the first step we did was we added a roster user on the user management page, and now we're going to assign rosters of students to that roster user. This is where the local staff ID comes into play to link that roster user to the list of students that they need to have access to in MAARS. The first column of the roster user template represents the testing school year. This needs to be provided in this format with the example roles that are shown here and included in the template. So this would present the 2015-2016 test data associated with this student with the state student ID to this local staff ID based on that staff ID's unique number. Then a roster name can be associated with that record so that it can show on the dashboards as a grouping for the students to be presented to that user. For example, this template here shows 2 rows, one for first period and one for second period. It's only listing 2 students, one in each period, but typically you would have a whole list of students for each of those rosters, and that would provide a grouping of those students into one chart for that particular roster period for the roster user when they log in to access the platform. One other point of information that is very helpful on the MAARS site is for the admins, there is a help menu at the bottom of the menu on the left-hand side, and clicking on help will open a new window with the help site. On the help page, you have a variety of documents, quick start guides, based on your role, information that's available to view the reports, and then for the DACs and MAARS administrators, information about user management, including the user management guide that's available. We have the ability here with the chat window. If you just want to reach out to our help desk with a quick question, you can just type your message in the chat window and have a help desk representative work with you directly. Or if you want to submit a request, up at the top of that page, there is a submit a request link, and you can click that and enter information, including uploading screenshots, attaching documents, and more detailed descriptions of your question or issue that you might be having with MAARS. And a ticket gets created, and you will receive email response notification regarding that ticket. And finally, this shows our support email address, which is another method for sending questions, and also our support phone number and extension for MAARS Support.